Hey guys, thanks very much for coming on to check out this new live. This is going to be something a little bit different than what we normally do. We normally have a podcast once a week on Wednesday mornings at 9:30. But we work with some very good friends over at Prusa who make some fantastic 3D printers. They sent over the Mark IV, and I just thought it'd be kind of fun to build one of these printers live and just give a little bit of commentary. The interesting thing about this build, probably different to any of the other ones you see on YouTube, is that I have no idea what I'm going to see. I have never built any Prusa printers, and I have never seen a single build video for any of the Mark IIIs, Mark IVs, Prusa Mini, Prusa Maxes. I've never seen a single build, and I've only ever seen one of these in real life once. So this is going to be completely newbie territory for me. So hopefully, as I learn what's going on here, you'll probably learn as well. I'll probably be discovering new things about this printer, good things to how it was made. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe we'll just have a bit of a laugh. Who knows? Just a little bit of history about me with Prusa. When I was in high school, I actually worked as a bespoke custom woodworker, and I saved up lots of money with the idea that, oh, one day I'm going to buy a 3D printer. And the Prusa Mark III was the printer that I wanted. It was, at the time, I think it was something like $800 for a kit build. I think it was $900 or $1,000 to buy pre-made and calibrated. So I saved up all of my money, and then at the last second I went, no, I can't do it. It's too expensive. So I don't even know what I blew the money on. I should have bought a 3D printer, and so should you. But this printer was very, very generously given to us by good friends Pooch at Prusa. You should check out his podcast as well, and him on Twitter. Very, very funny. So he sent us a Prusa Mark IV. That's the newest edition that just came out. I believe last year, obviously. It's January 3rd today, I believe. But he also sent over a couple spools of PLA as well as some PETG that is from Prusa. So yeah, we'll just kind of get open to this. So I actually did open this box already, but I opened it up and then thought, no, I don't want to build it. I would like to build it live with everyone here. Josh Manley, my co-presenter, is in the background. He's just going to be joining through us and moderating at the same time. So we're just going to be having some fun here.
Howdy.
One thing that there he is.
There.
One thing that I did kind of want to note that was a little bit different to the normal printers that I build from Creality is the whole purpose of Creality is that it's incredibly inexpensive. It's fairly easy to put together, and you can get pretty good results from it. That's the whole idea. It is beginner friendly, beginner friendly in the sense that it's cheap enough where it gets you into the hobby, but it doesn't give you spectacular results because you only paid $100 or $200 on it. Now, you can, through lots and lots of trial and error and testing, get phenomenal results out of it. I certainly have. I have gotten results out of a base stock Ender 3 just by testing it and calibrating it to the max that I would absolutely put up against a Prusa, but that's something that not everyone can do. And the printers that are coming out nowadays that Josh and I call microwave printers, where they come out of the box and they just work. You just plug in a file and they print, and they're usually really fantastic. This printer is probably going to be one of those as well. It is still a kit build, so it's not a microwave printer, but hopefully it will actually be producing some really fantastic parts. I have no idea if this little thumb drive comes with it actually has any files on it. I'm almost certain it has. But as I said, I'm completely brand new to all these Prusa prints and really anything that goes along with it. So we'll come along for the ride. One thing that really is kind of the differentiator between Prusa and a lot of other printers that I see is, of course, the cost. It's much more expensive because it's made to an incredibly high standard. Prusa Research Lab is in the Czech Republic in Central Europe, which is where Joseph Prusa is from, and all the printers are made to a very high quality standard, hence their high cost. And they aren't made in America. They are made in the Czech Republic, and then they have to get shipped over, which is usually why it's more expensive. But with that, as I'm opening this up, my direct relation is going to be, what am I comparing between this Prusa and like a standard Ender 3 or any of its variants? What am I noticing as the difference? And the first thing you notice when you pull out the box is that they don't just give you one build plate. They actually give you 3 that are dual-sided, and they're all different materials as well. So this is a what is this called? Textured powder-coated sheet. So this feels like a PEI, like the rough PEI. It's a flex stainless spring steel sheet, but they actually give you essentially 6 surfaces instead of just one. And one thing that not a lot of people realize when they start 3D printing is that the build plate that they're actually on is consumable. As you print on it, the grit of the build plate does wear away over time, which makes all your prints more likely to slip off and basically fail. So anytime you're working with any type of 3D printer, you do need to recognize, well, which components are consumable, which ones you'll have to replace, which ones usually trash quality that you do want to replace as soon as possible. On the Ender 3, the plastic extruder comes to mind. That thing is garbage, and a replacement is like $20. So just do it, and it'll save you a massive headache. But yeah, some of these are textured, which is really nice for a grip. Some of these are smooth, which will give you that really lovely glossy surface. Weirdly enough, I have found huge success with smooth surface PEI and awful experiences with grip PEI. So I'll be very interested in testing that. I've got very little floor space to put everything, so this is going to get very interesting very quickly. Got my handy dandy blade for any components. First thing on top is this really heavy PSU. People that don't know, PSU stands for power supply unit. This is essentially just a knockdown electric component. So you put in your wall power. In the US, it's 110 or 105 volts. In Europe and Asia and parts of Africa, it's 220 volts, so double it, which is why you have such a massive plugs in European and British plugs. But this one, it essentially takes that really high voltage and steps it down using magic. And this is how we're going to be able to give about 24 volts to a normal 3D printer. That's really all it needs to power all the computing and all of the fans, heating elements for the bed and the nozzle. So this is a tremendously important part. One thing you should note that you really don't ever need to open this up and get inside it. There's some components in there called capacitors, which is kind of like a battery, but it holds on to its charge even when you turn it off. So if you plug this in, turn it on, and turn it off, all those capacitors are kind of like little bombs. So as soon as you open this up and touch it, you can get electrocuted. So yeah, there's really not too much interesting in there, but there you go. Pretty standard plug that comes along with it. Put that right there. Oops. And then we'll just be growing all of our components. One thing that you should know about Prusa, if you think of picking one up, is that the instruction manual is very famously fantastic, really, really phenomenal. They kind of pride themselves on looking at other printers and the very, very crappy one-page instructions that come with them and saying, no, that's not good enough. We're going to give you essentially a booklet as well as really fantastic instructions on the side. As I said, I have never built one of these printers before, so I have no experience with it, but usually they are pretty good. Just pull out some more pieces. This is the extrusion and plate set. Who knows what this is? All the components. Really nice hard metal on there. That's great. Gosh, it's got so many metal plates on there. That feels like steel, actually. Oops. Oh, gosh. And then some aluminum extrusion. These are probably anodized, hence them being black. I actually don't know where all of these parts go to. Like I said, I'm completely brand new to this printer, and I'm sure I will learn lots about it. I also have no idea how long this this podcast is going to be. I'm making this up as I go along. I'm sure there'll be some dead points in this, so don't feel like you have to stick around for it. What is this? This is the motor kit. Okay, so this is going to have all the motors and all the lead screws. This delicious silica packet. I believe this is a dual axis, or excuse me, a dual Z axis. Yes, we have a lead screw directly mounted to a stepper. That's really interesting. I've never seen that before. That's great. That means you don't have to deal with any annoying couplers that can slip and then cause massive, massive issues. Second one right there, lovely. Very short stepper motor, that's our extruder, lovely. And then surely this will be an X and Y axis, and yes, it is indeed. Lovely. Very excited for this build. Oh, and then we do have some plastic flanges, it looks like, with a thread that goes over the lead screw. I would have thought that'd be metal. Interesting. Is there anything else inside there? Nope. All good on that front. Oh gosh, so many pieces. I'm gonna grab that instead. This one is called rods. So yeah, this is a linear rod system. Most Ender, or I think all Ender 3s really, are belt driven, so they have a essentially a tooth gear on your extruder motor, and then that's running to a timing belt, so it can move back and forth along some aluminum extrusion with some rubber wheels on there. But this is going to be riding, instead of an aluminum extrusion, on these really lovely rods. What size are these? Smooth rod, 8x360, lovely. 8mm rod. These are, I think, stainless steel. Very high quality. I'm going to leave them in their boxes so you guys can live right in front. Oh my gosh, so many pieces. This does feel quite a lot like Christmas, opening all my goodies. What is this? Printed parts orange. Yes. So one of the very early things that set apart Prusas from any other of the very big 3D printers of the early 2000s and the early 10s is that they were the first ones to actually 3D print parts for their 3D printers, which was kind of a glorious dream for a lot of 3D printer people. The idea of RepRap 3D printers, that's a self-replicating 3D printer, that kind of came up in the, gosh, I think something like the 40s or the 30s, that idea of a self-replicating robot. And Prusa was one of the first people to actually kind of dive into 3D printing and said, hey, well, we can have all these really strong brackets and everything to hold it all together. But then all of the holders to secure the panel and angled pieces and stabilizers, those can all be 3D printed. And the quality on this, as you would expect, is lovely. I imagine these are actually made from PETG, so they are ever so slightly stronger. But this is made from just their normal black material. And of what I've heard, the machines that they have to make all of these parts are actually different from the machines that you buy. For some reason, I'm sure a company secret, they modify them in some way to make them absolutely perfect at what they're doing, because they have, I believe, 800 3D printers working around the clock, making parts for other 3D printers, which is amazing. Should I leave it in the bag? I think I'm going to leave all these parts in the bag, because I'm just going to get losing all of them very, very quickly. That is a fan shroud. Lovely. No idea. And no idea. These are all labeled the next extruder. No idea. Filament guide add-on, grand. Y-axis carriage. God, there's so many things in here. X-axis carriage. Good lord, it just never ends. Spool holder. Oh, that's a lot of parts. Okay. Oh, and then the classic orange. I actually do have a spool of their orange, which I'm very excited about. Okay, these are all bags of 3D printed parts. Lovely. 1,000 zip ties. That's good. Love to see that. Gosh, so many things here. And I've still got so many other pieces in my box to go through. I'm going to have to get really organized really quickly. Oh. What is this? Fasteners and electronics. Oh, I should have gotten another workplace. So many bolts, so many pieces, so little time. Yeah, oh my gosh, am I going to have to build every single individual piece, am I? Christ, Joseph.
By the way, the
hot end fan LCD.
The official founding of the RepRap movement, if I know you were not talking official, but the official founding was 2005 by Adrian Bauer from he was a mechanical engineer at the University of Bath in England. and he got funding for the project. So RepRap was founded in 2005 by Adrian Bowder.
That's fantastic. But I was more referring. I'm sure you know. I was more referring to the concept of a machine that can build itself. Like when 3D printers really became kind of more popular, and some people got them. Did every single person on the planet make the exact same joke of, can it print another 3D printer? I've heard that joke 10 billion times. It's such an uninteresting and unoriginal
joke. No, it gets funnier and funnier every time. I'm sure you're just like.
That's the hotbed. Lovely. That's very thin. Very strange. Huh. Okay. I'm going to make a continuing mound.
I will not make a joke
these metal
there.
parts
I will not make a joke there. I will not make a joke there.
These are I said the steel earlier. These are die-cast aluminum, and they've been textured and anodized to be black. I don't know if you can see all the intricacies in there. That's really lovely. These are really thick metal parts as well. And then the classic Prusa with the lovely honeycomb design on the back. That's what I'm talking about. And then the warning stickers that nobody cares about. Lovely. I will say, and this is always one of the hardest things to really talk about in any of these reviews or builds or anything like that, is what is the quality physically of all the parts. Like obviously you can say, oh, this part breaks after X amount of hours of printing, yada, 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 which we all know about. But as far as like physical feel of quality is something fairly important. That is why so many people who make low quality products in this world will then add heavy concrete weights into their product, even though they don't need it, just because people assume that because it's heavier, it means it's a better quality. But these do genuinely, in real life, feel incredibly high quality, incredibly nice. And I will treat them very, very nicely. Do not print directly on the surface. Okay, Joseph, will do. So the entire thing is a heating element. That's fascinating. God, this is busy. Okay. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, so this is going off to the side. And if you guys can see just how many pieces and electronics are in this baffle. There's so many pieces. I genuinely thought this was going to take me an hour. This is not going to take me an hour. This is going to take me 3, 4, 5 hours to do. I didn't bring any snacks. I didn't bring any snacks.
We're gonna need some. Can we airmail Jake some snacks? Let's go.
The thing is, and I'll show this to you. So this is obviously the instruction manual, but it's only a few pages that are actually the instructions. The rest of it is, hey, here's how you actually use Prusa Slicer, and here's what 3D printing is, etc.
Maple Leaf Maker says, if I wasn't here, who else would tell Jake to build a Voron instead?
I'm not building a Voron. Yeah. I'm not doing it. Is that the instructions? 3D printing? Oh, this is a handbook. Where, my son, are the instructions then? Am I stupid? Yeah, this is... I was thinking, oh, this is quite a thick book for an assembly, but this is not the assembly at all. Good God, what does that say? Follow Prusa. Assembly instructions. Oh, God, I'm going to have to do this on my phone.
Do you have an iPad over there?
So the what?
You got your iPad over there?
Aha! Josh, have I ever told you that you're quite clever?
Little sidekick.
The problem is I haven't charged up my iPod in 100 years, so this only has 14%. Okay. This is... Can you tell we're professionals? This...
Zachary says there's a website for that. Sounds like. I don't know.
Oh, God. Yeah, come on. I'd like to go to Prusa's website. There we go. Okay, so I'm sure that handbook is very nice. I'm sure it works very, very well. But I haven't got time to go through it. Sorry. Sorry, Joseph. Handbook, drivers, how to, assembly instructions. There we go.
All right, I've got the facts for you, Jake. I've dug in a little bit
Okay,
more. So
good.
rep rap, the idea of rep rap, like I said, that was founded in, what did I say,
Yep.
2005, 2000, I think it was 2005,
Yeah,
and
something
that
like
was
that.
the engineer at. Okay, but the idea of the self-replicating system. Who quiz
Hmm.
question as you're looking around? Who if you had to guess, and it's a scientist, I'll give you a hint. What scientist would have invented
Okay.
that idea?
I Okay, so I think, as someone who quite likes trivia, it's either going to be an extreme on one end or another. It's either going to be, oh, the idea of a self-replicating machine only came around in like 1970s, or it's going to be something like, oh, Ptolemy actually came up with it, or Da Vinci came
So it was
up with it. Is it something?
1950s. It was the 1950s. So
Okay,
you're
that's
right.
later than I thought it'd be.
Yeah, yeah. It
Right.
was
Okay.
von Neumann. So
Neumann,
the
really?
concept of an artificial self-replicating system was introduced in the 50s by von Neumann. Now, I bet some philosophers have
Fascinating.
gone way back with that concept. So it's like, what's my source
Yeah,
here? Oh, my source is
because in
springer.com. Hmm.
okay.
Hmm.
Because generally the idea of a machine that can make itself is in essence the same thing as an artificial human being or an
That's
artificial
right. A
animal that
cell.
can
Exactly.
reproduce. Yeah, cell. So I think that's one of those answers that actually doesn't have a true beginning whatsoever, because it's like, what is a robot, what is a human being, what is a an animal generally. Was that good? Was that interesting? Was that philosophical? Okay,
Wow.
this package can be found in the fasteners. It includes needle nose pliers. I have some over there. Phillips. I have some over there. Universal wrench. I don't know what the universal wrench is. 13 mil. Grand. Allen key. Torx. So that's all in there. Oh, Joseph. Why didn't you put it in a box, man? Why didn't you put it in a box? There is this really great philosophy. Not a philosophy, just a thought experiment. If you're moving into a workshop, you've got a truckload full of your own tools that you've collected for years and years and years. Lathes, woodworking, metalworking, cabinets, etc., etc., etc. What do you take out first? And I would always said the heavy stuff. And then someone said, no, you should you should put in all your cabinets first, because that's where the stuff will go. I'm like, God, I'm so glad that there's people that are so much cleverer than me in this world. Where are the bloody tools? Aha! I found the tools. Can I swear on this podcast, Josh?
Of course. Of course. We make the
I,
rules here. We make the rules here.
I've got
You
no
know,
fucking clue where to
it can
put
be.
these.
Yeah.
There's as you know, I swear quite a lot, and I do hold my tongue for for all of our courses, especially the ones aimed at kids, because swearing in front of kids is a bit, yeah.
That said,
But one of my
it's like a normal thing to interact with in the world. I'm not like, yeah, I generally
yeah.
also agree with you. I try to avoid it, but yeah.
One of my mum's favorite singers in the world was Queen, Freddie Mercury, and there's not that many interviews of him because he was quite reclusive. But he used to swear like a sailor, and he did an interview, and one of them, who was one of the interviewers, who was quite prudish, said, "Gosh, you do swear quite a lot. Can you use different language?" And he just said it's not swearing, it's vocabulary. Specifically, it's part of my vocabulary. And I thought that's quite a beautiful way to think about it. It's like it's only obscene if you take offense in it. But if you accept that that's just how I speak, then it becomes less and less offensive.
Yeah, I feel. Yeah.
That being
we
said,
we could get deeply philosophical about words.
Back.
Yeah. I mean, we could, but I generally agree with you. It's like, what is? It's a word. It's a word used to express the thing. Is it really? Like, I've gotten
There's
so
also a cultural difference as
desensitized.
well.
There's big time.
So, but in America, you cannot swear on television. Obviously, kids' television, but also adults' television.
No, you
But in
can
the
now.
UK, there
You
is
can now.
different obscenity laws where if someone is saying "f you" and being aggressive, at them, then that's not allowed. But if you just but if someone's just saying, if someone bangs their knee and goes, "Oh fuck," that's not an aggression towards someone. That's just part of language. That is accepted, and I think that's significantly more of an interesting route to think about. Anyway, going back to this, labels. This has got labels. Oh goodness me! Yep. This is how things are made. Oh god. Okay, all these have different letters on there. Pro tip: inserting nuts. What? Nuts won't fit. Yeah. Okay. Electronics. Yeah. Don't. Yep. So all Prusa printers come with a bag of Haribo gummy bears. I have devoured them already before my trip to Colorado. So it's saying step 10: reward yourself. Have some gummy bears. I have not had them, unfortunately. How to successfully finish? Prepare your desk. I have prepared my desk. It's full of shit. Okay, tools necessary. Got a load of Allen keys. Grab screws. Oh, this comes with a load of these. Okay. Okay. All right. First thing that I need to do is the frame, which means I won't need this and I won't need this. I'm going to move some of the larger bits out of the way. So I'm going to need this. The frame. I'm going to need all of my aluminum extrusions. Oh,
trivia question for the audience as we're going here, if anybody wants to try to answer it, is who is the creator of Fab Labs? Who is the guy that created the Fab Lab movement?
Do you want to tell people what Fab Labs is?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Do you want to remind me?
It's like a makerspace, basically. It's where the idea of makerspaces came from. I think is the most succinct way to put it. So a fabrication lab, a place that you would come in, and instead of having like a traditional, like wet lab bench where you did biology or chemistry, the idea was you came in and you worked with machines and you made stuff. So the Fab Lab movement is still going strong, but the founder, for those of you listening right now, curious, if you know who the founder of that movement was that brought us makerspaces, and honestly, they have a lot. I mean, he was instrumental in, there you go, I've dropped a hint. I've eliminated 50% of the humans on the planet by saying he. But this guy was, he was instrumental in the movement to helping people make things and probably to 3D printing.
Are they a famous, because I actually don't know, are they a famous individual who also...
He was on a podcast I like, the Lex Friedman podcast. And that was the first I had actually heard of him. So Lex Friedman just does interviews. I don't know how to put it. Joseph Prusa, I don't think so. Was not Prusa. So one guess is Prusa. It was in fact.
6,
7, if we have any other comments
8,
in here?
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Anytime I am building anything, grab yourself one of these magnetic bowls because they are absolutely indispensable. They are lovely. Unfortunately, these are stainless steel bolts, and annoyingly, stainless steel is not magnetic. So the idea of these magnetic bowls is if you accidentally throw it off the table and it falls and goes everywhere, that sucks. But at least everything is held in that bowl, maybe one or two. But these are just shaking around, so that sucks. Okay, so I'm gonna have to be a really good boy and make sure that everything is properly secure. Make sure nothing gets lost.
So the
I'm
answer,
confused by this. It came with
answer,
a thing called a lubrication set. Oh, sorry, go on.
Trivia answer was Neil Gershenfeld, MIT. Fab Lab creator, MIT Media Lab. So the MIT Media Lab was so famous for just pumping out amazing ideas.
It is a really wonderful idea. It's almost communistic in its way.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. And yet that's probably the same reason it doesn't work very well.
It's what he unfortunately did not take into account. is how lovely some people can be and how communal some people can be. And then on the flip side, how tremendously insufferable other people are and how not communal they are. Oh. Right, okay. Taking the XY frame. Got this. I need to grab some Allen keys. Do I do the Allen key or do I use a drill? What do you think, Josh? Use a drill,
Use a drill.
or use Allen
We
keys?
do not need to go the slow-fashioned way. You like that? You like that little mix-up?
These universal keys, these are very lovely. And I love Allen keys. I love T-handle Allen keys. But I do not have time. I don't have time. Where do these go? Go over there. Okay. I'm going to grab my impact wrench, which is different to a drill. Nobody really knows how. And I'm going to grab my very lovely and trusted array of bits. Fantastic. This is a hex key. Go for all these. I actually don't have that many. And I got it right the first time because I'm a professional, as you would all expect. I know we normally do Jake rants for the podcast and not for this, whatever this is. But why are hex bolts so absolutely perfectly normal to find, but hex drivers are absolutely impossible to find? The only time I've ever gotten these are really cheap places like AliExpress or Harbor Freight. Why can I not buy a full set of metric and imperial hex key drivers? Why are they such a pain? Got no idea why. Okay, so this is asking me to... Oh god, there's so many bloody holes on it. That's how many holes there are. Let's try it against the white. There's a billion holes. Joseph, what am I doing? Take the longer extrusion flame. Longer extrusions, great. And I'm going to be passing some bolts through. Who are these for? Okay. I'm actually only going to put one in there, and then screw it in place. Perfect. Very strange. I'm sure this is all custom pieces. I lied. I'm going to grab not only my drill, but I'm going to grab all of my T-handles. There are others available, but I got these from Harbor Freight because I love Harbor Freight. I know they get a lot of shit, but, I love them. Size. Unfortunately, so I can absolutely recommend these crappy T-handles. Unfortunately, the holder for them is garbage, so I just made my own, 3D printed it, designed it in less than an hour. Took probably an hour to print, and they are vastly better than the one that came with it, thus proving that 3D printers are the superior tool. Oh, do you know what I can do as well? Or one thing that I may do. I recently got a vise, a very, very small vise, micro vise, I think it's called. But it's one that has, instead of clamping onto your table and then mucking up your workspace or your workstation, it has a little vacuum pump on it. And so it actually doesn't ruin your table. And it just sucks down. It's got a massive rubber pad on it. Oh, bloody hell, what am I doing? There you go. That does not look straight at all. Completely lied. Does work. All right, impact. There you go. So I'm sure I'll be using it for the first time. Lovely. So the little click, this is a very uninteresting fun fact. The little clicks that you hear if you're ever screwing something in with a drill is the drill bit slipping in the profile of the actual screw head. Because screw heads are usually made from a weaker material, you're actually ruining both the bolt and your tool. But on an impact, it's got a hammer action inside, therefore making it, it actually has a rotating hammer, literally driving it in. So much better, and it's actually a much stronger screw mechanism. So if you hear someone with a drill going, you should stop them immediately. But if you see them with an impact driver, then just know that life is good. Life is good because impact drivers are good. This is the kind of commentary that you don't get on other 3D printer builds. You see, here at CAD Class, we provide 3D printing and CAD information, as well as a healthy amount of philosophy and tool information.
Da-da-da.
We do talk quite a lot about philosophy, which I think is important.
I think so too. Yeah,
it is. I wish they would teach philosophy at schools.
I don't know.
It's been proved many times that
I prefer not to have it in schools because then I get to get interested in it outside of school.
The only reason I say that is that it's been proved many times that if you teach philosophy and math and English, etc., all of the other subjects, their scores increase with philosophy rather than without, which is fascinating. And also philosophy is kind of nice to learn about. Yeah, put that in, screwed it in place. Show you using the correct holes closest to the center. Yes. Use the M5, tighten it. Yep. Tighten the screws in a diagonal pattern. I didn't do that because I know better, frankly. And then it wants me to screw on these smaller ones to the very front. So these go, oh, very strange, into this small housing. Yeah, it goes into there. Notice on the front. Very strange. I trust you, Joseph. I trust you with my 3D printer build. I do wish I had some music going. That would be nice. But unfortunately, I'm not a very good singer. So my fiance is a trained choir singer. She's got a gorgeous voice, but unfortunately, she's petrified of singing in front of people. If she's just singing alone, she refuses to sing. But if she's in a choir, you can identify her voice very easily out of the crowd. And Casey, my fiance, she's got a gorgeous voice. There's a thing that singers do called singing at full voice, which is where they puff out their chest and they give the maximum amount of air going through their lungs. And in other words, it is as beautiful of a sing as you can possibly get. And I've only heard her sing in full voice once in my life, and it brought tears to my eyes. It's absolutely beautiful, the singer.
Oh.
But she just doesn't sing. And I try and be tricksy, and as we're playing something on the radio and she's singing along, I try and sneakily turn down the volume, which she catches every single time, unfortunately, but lovely singer. Love that girl. What music would be good for an assembly? I feel like the kind of obvious, uber manly Americana rock and roll would be a little silly, considering it's a computing device. Tighten up by hand. I think lo-fi would be nice. We should do that next time.
Always nice.
It's nice and relaxing.
It is.
I am noticing that my bolt heads are actually getting chewed up a little bit.
Imagine that.
Which means that even though This is close. It's actually not the right one. So this is a 3mm, and that should work just fine. But it ain't, which means I have to go to my even more specific new drivers, which I haven't got to play around with yet. This is my security driver box. I know, Josh, you will like. Oh, look at them. Look at all the weird screws.
Oh, yes.
Security Torx, security hex, bidirectional, 1 through 4 triangular. Lovely. I don't know when I'll ever use it, but it's a very nice thing to see. And it's got metric and imperial hex drivers, which I'm a massive fan of. That's the wrong size as well. Is 3 the best one, really? Just kind of feels like it's mashing it a little bit. Yeah, 8 is not going to do it, and 6, 7, yeah. 3 is the best. Maybe that is just a tremendously crappy driver, which is very likely. I'm going to put this in a driver extension. I'm actually going to put it in the long. Yeah, I'll put it in the medium one. God, all the kit that you need just to assemble a 3D printer. Very silly. No, I'm actually going to put it in the long one for this one. I do love having tools. I'm a very... this is something that I think Josh and I can talk about for a long time. I would call myself someone who's tries to be anti-consumption, because I know the environmental impacts are quite mega. But when it comes to tools, all of that ethics go away.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Maximalist.
Yeah, I'm a maximalist with collecting tools. But I'm not one of those people who really cares about brand to the end of the earth. I'm more worried about, do I have this fairly obscure tool? I'd rather have a fairly obscure tool, or many fairly obscure tools, rather than a handful of very high quality things. Because, well, frankly, I know myself as a maker, I don't actually make things every single day for hours and hours and hours. I'm not building a bloody house. But what sometimes I do need is a Torx security bit, because sometimes that happens and you need it. And yeah, sometimes it's not available because you spend all your money on DeWalt, because that costs $1 billion for a drill. What a shame. What a shame. I think I will bring out my my little vacuum vice in a little bit. I think that'd be fun. Again, I got a bunch of Harbor Freight gift cards for Christmas, which I adore my family because of it, because they know exactly what I want. And I haven't used it yet, but I will. I'll very like use this. Josh, this podcast is gonna take 1 billion years. I'm only on step 4. Of 6 pages of stuff. So I'm probably not going to live stream the entire thing because I'm not that cruel.
And we also have a 5:30 tonight.
Oh goodness, that's right, we do. Josh and I have a meeting, some office hours with the people who have taken our video course. Are all of my bits chewing up these bolts? I think they are. Maybe it's because I'm using an impact drill.
Yeah.
when I should be using my drill with a torque limiter. That is exactly what I should be doing. And Josh, I can't believe you didn't tell me earlier that's what I should be doing. How dare you? But I changed this out.
Zachary says it is a full 8-hour build.
Oh, the thing is, for those of you that don't know, Josh and I used to run quite a lot of one of the largest makerspaces in North America, one of the largest ones in the world, actually. And we ran it with an iron fist. No, we didn't. We ran it by choosing kits and projects that can fit in 3-hour slots, because that's how long our classes were. And if a project takes too long, then it needs to be in multiples of 3 hours. So sometimes you'll have a project that takes 12 hours and it's just completely impractical. Even though it's cool, it's just not what you should be doing. And one of the things that we did build was the Ender 3, the original Ender 3, which is a printer that I still love, even though it is quite old. I'm going to put this to level 2. Let's see how that goes. I'm going to be tight, just so you guys know, this is how you do it. If you don't know, on a drill, you've got a torque limiter. That's what all these numbers are around there. And if you don't know which level you should be at, then hand tighten one of your bolts to whatever level that you find is acceptable. And then set it as low as it can go. And if you hear the clicking action in it, then it has reached its torque limit. You know, I can hold on to that and you can see it clicks. And if it does that on this bolt, then you can go 1 click higher, 1 click higher, 1 click higher, etc., until it works dandy. Until you hear it continue. That's all right. Okay, that's fine. Yep. Oops. But because I know this drill, I'm actually going to put it on a 4. All right. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Final check. Long extrusions must be on the front. Yes. Short extrusions must be on the back without the Prusa logo. Yes. But this is tipping. Yep. And then these are closer together. Lovely. Now it needs the plate connectors. I originally said these were steel. I have no idea why. They're very obviously made of aluminum. That's because I don't know what I'm talking about. And this is a whole ruse. We're not professionals. We don't know what we're talking about. We're just some blokes. What else? I need some more of those screws. M5 by 16. I don't know why, but I find deep comfort in collecting hardware and learning about hardware. I don't know why. I actually just got a massive set of hardware of different assorted M2 through M4 bolts today. Printed a bunch of holders and accessories for it, which I'll be producing as a YouTube short for you guys in a little bit. But I love collecting. I love learning about bolts because they're weirdly fascinating in ways that people really don't expect. Okay, I also need some N3. What is it called? M3NE bolts. There we go. Very weird. I've got no idea what that means. Now these look like T-nuts to me, but they've got a bunch of weird geometries on it. So who knows? The story that I was getting back earlier when Josh and I were picking projects, we chose the Ender 3, and we got so good at it that I could. We never did, but I really do want to do this. How fast can you build an Ender 3 basic? And I reckon that I could build the entire thing in 15 minutes. That's what I reckon I can do. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah,
do you think you can do
think
faster
so.
than that?
Yeah, I don't think I could do it faster than 15. 15's, that's pretty quick.
That's pretty quick. Yes, it is. God, these are really strange. Oh, they're T-nuts, but they've got a little spring mechanism in it. Oh, that's lovely. Joseph Prusa, hats off to you, mate. That's very, very, very clever. That's a very lovely design. 16 of these. So he's got... Okay, prepare this. Front plate, rear plate. Stick with the serial number. Yep. All of my bolts, all of my nuts. Very strange. Okay. But where do all the T-nuts go? Weird. It just says to screw this on. Okay. Rotate the frame so the longer extrusions are facing you. Yes. Place the front plate, that'll be that one, on there, and secure it with M5 by 16. Don't tighten them all yet. Now tighten the screws diagonal pattern. I think they just essentially want me to screw it in place, which I can do. I'm an adult. I know how to screw things. Joseph, I will not be listening to you. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Yeah, I think this is going to be scratching my build plate. Where's my vice? There it is. There it is. Look how tiny and lovely this little vice is. Just need to put a little bit of moisture on there, as every child knows. As I do this, it splashed water all over my workspace.
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah.
And Zachary says spring-loaded T-nuts are used for the PSU and controller box units and are loaded into the profiles.
Yeah, the spring mechanism, I'm sure, is going to be godsend for this. Come on. Oh, you're going to pull down. There you go. Oops. Oh, for God's sake. There. That's locked in place. Glorious. I do need to make a little, some kind of bulbed ends for this vice. Tighten that on. Lovely. Oh, how nice are vices?
Vices are so nices.
Vices are so nices. They're lovely little things. God, that makes life so much easier. If you guys are not subscribed to a YouTuber called ClickSpring, then I cannot recommend him enough. He is this Australian machinist who makes beautiful videos about clockwork mechanisms and everything. And for the past, I think, 2 or 3 years, he's been working on a timekeeping, not timekeeping, something. It's an astrological clock. Essentially, it tracks the movement of the sun, the moon, the earth, the rotations, the sub-rotations, seasons, everything you can imagine in one clockwork mechanism. Absolutely amazing. It's called the Antikythera. And in it, he basically is making it as the original maker would have made it in real life. Oh, finally, I can actually. All right, so I'm going to fully tighten that. Yep, that feels about right. Let's try it at 6. See if that's still clicking. Yep, clicking. Go down. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to leave that at about 7. All right, I can hear it clicking in place, which means torque limiter is working a treat. If you guys can hear that, that is all the accessories in your drills that you've never bothered to learn what they do working in action. Lovely. Joseph, I know you told me to do it diagonal, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Okay. Can you hear all these bloody T-handles just shaking back and forth?
No.
Never-endingly.
No.
Oh,
really.
Driving me nuts. Okay, this is an important step. The M3 nuts are placed incorrectly. You'll have issues later. I don't want to have issues. Take the XY plane. Oh, look at that. Isn't that nice? And he wants me to put some of the T-nuts in this way. But which way do I put it? Which way do I put it, Joseph? This way, obviously. So 2 on either side. Gosh, that is very, very nice. The T-nuts on the end of 3 are the most fiddly and annoying thing on the planet. And these spring-loaded things mean that it actually doesn't matter, or you don't even have to bother with rotating one bit. That's lovely. Okay. That is a glorious thing. Lovely. Repeat it for the other side. Spacing doesn't matter. Yeah, we know that.
Caden says, I believe 15.
You believe 15 what?
I don't know. Caden says, I believe 15. But I zoned out for a second, and I don't know what
Yeah.
that means.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Cadence. I'm sorry. Let's put one. Oops. Let's put one on either side. Do you know what would be good? To have a little vinyl record playing as I'm building this.
That would
I think that'd be
good.
very nice. Wouldn't that be nice?
I think so. I think so.
I would have some French Art Nouveau playing from the 1980s.
That sounds great, actually.
Doesn't that sound good?
Yeah, it does.
That and a scotch.
Oh,
That sounds lovely.
man.
That should be a thing. I think we should do that more. Is listen to interesting, strange foreign music while building stuff.
I agree. I'm in.
You're in. And if I can sell you, Josh, I can sell anyone. Alright, slightly that. Alright. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, and ocho. Lovely. Okay, and I've got 2 M5 by 16 bolts left, which weren't in a Ziploc bag, Joseph, so you get negative points for that. Okay. Oops. Oh, bugger. Bugger. I just want to take you off. Not take off the whole vice. There we go. Okay. Push that down. Get some vacuum action. There we go. All right, life is good again. So this is now saying check that everything is nice and flat, which it is. Great. Using hand, try and wiggle, put on a flat surface. Perfect. All right, now it's asking for the to put on some mounting feet onto this.
Oh, Cadence was referring to the build time from that we were talking about earlier. So it's 15.
Oh, 15 hours.
Yeah, Cadence, I think your video might be a little behind the live video is what's going on.
Okay, so I need some anti-vibration feet and some cable clips. Lovely. I don't think that's in here. Oh, bring the whole box up. What am I doing? Okay. There we are. Anti-vibration feet and some cable clips. Lovely. Okay. 4 rubber anti-vibration feet, random bit of rubber, and some cable clips. Now, for some reason, and I'm not exactly sure why, I'm not sure I understand, but there is a debate on whether vibration damping does anything at all, or if the springy feet you have on 3D printers, whether what they do is positive or negative for the entire thing. Sometimes, of what I've heard, it is only a negative thing for taller prints, but for shallow prints, it is a positive thing. But it's not as positive as you think. It actually only makes it fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent better. Most of the time, it's actually not that good. So I don't put them on mine. CNC Kitchen made a very famous video a long time ago saying, oh yeah, everyone should put their 3D printers on like concrete baffles. So it adds and then clamp onto it. So then your 3D printer is on a very heavy, solid base, on concrete pavers, that's what it's called. And everyone ran out and did it. And then nobody noticed any difference except for CNC Kitchen. And then I think Thomas Sandladder did a video a couple of years later and said, you should fill your innards with sand, and that adds more weight to it. And then some people noticed that, well, if you added a load of weight higher up, then that adds more of a vibrational mass to it and actually makes your small vibrations even larger. So it's a fairly confusing thing that nobody can really agree on if it's any good. Okay. So then I've got to put on some cable clips to the underside. What? Okay, so this is going to be... Oh, for goodness sake. Come on. There we are. For anybody who's just joining live, this is me who has never, ever, ever assembled a Prusa machine in my entire life, attempting to do it in a non-embarrassing amount of time. But what I've learned through listening to the lovely audience is that this actually will take quite a lot of time. This will take an embarrassing amount of time. Someone said 15 hours potentially to make it all. And as much as I'm a cruel person, I will not subject you guys to watching all of that. But hopefully you've learned just a little bit off of this already. Oh, gosh, come on, get into place. Is that going the right way? Okay. Yep. So 3 clips, so 2 at the bottom. Perfect, that's what I would like to do if you go into place. Oh, that is just killing my thumb. Let's try it on the vise. Josh and I have actually met Joseph Prusa in real life. We met him when we went to Open Source in San Francisco. That was the convention put on by William Osman, who's another wonderful YouTuber. And we wanted to do just a very quick interview with him, and he declined in a very, very kind way with a perfectly reasonable reason. He said that he was absolutely exhausted from meeting and taking pictures of people and being on other interviews because this was the end of the second day. And he was like, I don't want to give you guys a low energy bit of content, which absolutely completely fair answer. We said, that's totally fine. We'll catch you later. He was very, very nice. Shook our hands. But this is a guy who's incredibly well known in the maker community, but he's also very well known for not hiding behind a booth and just shaking hands and then hand sanitizer. He's actually in, he's kind of in the bullpen, chatting with everyone. Incredibly nice bloke. Okay, what am I doing on this? Got 2 more on the underside. Oh, I think I ruined that. Nope. Did I? Don't know. I think I did. God, I think I've messed that up. Why weren't these supposed to slide on beforehand? This didn't need to be a clip. This could just been slid along the path. Okay, so the pluggy thing, that goes in the bottom. There we go. It is easy, I just wasn't looking at or reading properly, which not really a surprise to anyone that knows me. Okay, and then install 2 more on the underside for the second extrusion. Lovely. Okay. Now let's get on some electronic components. We're now putting on the PSU, which stands for Power Supply Unit. So I've got that. I will then need some M3 by 10 screws, as well as some M4 by 10 screws. Perfect. What did it say? The PSU is designed to work worldwide and automatically adapts to the local voltage. So we don't even need to change it. That's very, very nice.
That's very slick. I can imagine a lot of ruined Ender 3s because of that.
Yes. So as far as I know, if you're in a country that uses 220 volts and you set it to 110, turn it on, it just won't receive enough volts or enough amperage, essentially. and it just won't even turn on. But I think if you do it the other way, then it can like seriously damage your printer. So I think something like that. Nope, I need M3 by 10s. These are not 10s. 4 by 10, lovely. That's too long. What is that? M3 by 6s, new. M3 by 14, no. Where's the M3 by 10? Oh my, there's 78 of them? Christ almighty. This is going to take me all bloody day to build.
Zachary said 8 hours.
All right.
8 hours.
Okay. Okay. Like that's, I accept my fate. You know. But Jesus, it's a bit excessive. I'm going to put these 2 bolts over there. I'm guaranteed to forget about it as well. Okay, so I only need 2 of them, so I'm going to put 2 back in there. Here's something that's very confusing about this build, something I actually don't like. You've got 3 bolts in a sealable Ziploc bag, which makes sense. I'm using 2. I'm sure I'll use the other one a little bit later. Perfect. But then you've got 78 bolts in a container that does not Ziploc close. Why? Surely that's the wrong way around, yeah? Like, surely I'm only using 2 of these, and now this is an open container. So I put it on the edge of my table and I knock it. I've got 76 bolts that I have to go up and find. That seems a little silly. I'm sure there's an industrial reason for it, but that's a bit annoying. I have grabbed the same ones. Lovely. Okay. I'm just gonna have to put these off to the side then, really, and hope they don't get destroyed. Okay. Okay, how does this fit on? So this goes through the back, and then the PSU is facing upwards, essentially. I think that's how it goes. Have a look at the right side of the frame. Locate the M3 nuts. Insert the M3 by 10 screws into them. What? But I've got M4s, but all of the M3s are exactly the same. Funky. That's quite strange. Okay. So I'm just hand screwing them in. An Allen key. I will actually need that. Smallest one, yet. Need a second larger one. Wunderbar. Okay, screw those in, take the PSU, place it. Oh, so it lines up with these grooves. That's just fine. Okay, and then I'm sure this is going to be mounted. Aha! There we go. Figured it out. Screws on the bottom here, just line it up. I can move that over so it's nice and flush. And then some of the M4 screws will tighten it up from the bottom. Or from the front, excuse me. Okay, that's fine. And that's just fine. Lovely. Okay, and the PSU is one of those components where it doesn't actually move. You know, it doesn't really take any stress, so there's no need to be, you know, ridiculously careful with it. It's going to be all right. That doesn't fit. Oh, I got rid of those Allen keys thinking, oh, I've got a full set of Allen keys or T-handles, and I don't have the right one. So I'm going to have to do something that I wouldn't normally do, but this happens. I'm going to use an Imperial T-nut on a metric bolt, which is a disgusting thought, but I hope it works. That doesn't work. And that does. I actually don't know if that's even what they want me to do. Yeah, put that down. Screwing it through the front. Yes. Yes, we know what to do. I say that as it refuses to get to screw into its hole. Are you joking? And I need to redo it. I'm sure it said, keep those bottom 2 bolts loose so then you can screw the one from the front and then secure them on the bottom. I'm almost positive that's exactly what it says. But come on, most people that are building this aren't being filmed while they do it. I will say I am one of those people who viciously reads all the instructions. And I'm not doing it right now.
Viciously reads
I mean,
them.
I'm on purpose not reading every single word. I mean, not only because that would make a fantastically boring live, but also it's a bit funny. Isn't it? Just me screwing up and going, oh god. Me blaming Joseph, very, very kind Joseph, and then, oh no, it's actually just me. It's me that's the problem.
Yeah, that's usually the problem. That's usually the problem. What is it I read one somewhere? This was a philosophical idea. It was like when faced with confronting your own shortcomings or confronting the shortcomings of others. What was it? I'm gonna butcher it. Basically, the gist of it was that for most people, confronting other people's problems is easier because then you don't have to deal with your own.
Oh yeah,
but I don't.
That's not even philosophy. That's just.
I know,
that's
but
just
it was the philosophy was in how it was said. Fail. That's fail. Live stream fail right there.
That's fine. We still love you. Okay. Everything's aligned. Lovely. Tighten up the bottom ones. Yes. We knew that would come up. Okay. Now I'm getting to these components. Oh, I get to put in the motherboard. I think. Fantastic. That is one of the things that I do miss from the Ender 3s. That all the electronics are done. You don't actually secure anything down, which is a bit of a shame because I wish you did. Okay, so I need the buddy box. What a disgusting name for a part. Thermal. Oh, God. Honestly, Josh, it's asking me to get thermal pads and more screws. Bloody hell. I not for comic relief. I genuinely thought, well, I'm a professional 3D printer person. I'm going to be able to do this in an hour, if maybe 2 at a reach. This is going to take 1,000 years to do. Oh God, yep. Joseph, why are you doing this to me? Okay, thermal pads. I see them in there, and then small lovely bolts. Okay. Oh God, I'm standing up and down. I'm feeling my age, even though I'm only 27. Okay, thermal pad, and 2 smaller thermal pads. And where is the second one? Do I really only have? I've only got one. Oh. Oh no, it says there's only one in. Oh, what? Are they in 2 separate boxes? Yeah, that's only. Oh, for fuck's sake. I would. I do adore this process of. Oh, there they are. Grab the wrong bloody bag. I do adore this process of incredible finicky and laying old parts out into 1,000 pieces and then assembling. I do thoroughly enjoy that. But this is a fairly short, or it's going to end up being quite a long live stream. So in reality, I would probably take the full 15 hours to build this, unnecessarily take a long amount of time. But this has to be visually beautiful.
Take your time. We won't get through it all. Not today, at least.
Yeah, there's no way I'm going through all this. Oh. but I will probably end up live streaming the final processing. That sounds all right.
Absolutely.
The first print will be a glorious thing because of it. All right, got my thermal pads, which do what, Josh? They therm. That's what they do.
Thermally.
Yeah,
Pad.
thermally. M3x6 and M3x10. Do you know what's very annoying about this? Like I say, I collect hardware. I collect screws and organize them into, for me, very, very nice specificity. And I have all of these bolts in color-coded containers that are very easily accessible in arm's reach. And unfortunately, I have to pick through all of someone else's bolts and someone else's organizing philosophy. And it's a bit of a pisser. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right. Those are those ones. M3x10, just 2 of these. Oh, gosh. So many bolts, so little time. Josh, you have, I'm going to give you some homework. Not real homework, but TV watching homework. Because it's not too dissimilar to this. Do you know who James May is?
Nope.
From English Top Gear, the car show.
Nope.
I'm sure somebody in the comments will. Top Gear. Do you know about the show Top Gear?
Nope.
Okay, it is one of the largest TV shows on the planet. I think in its heyday, something like 1 billion people around the planet watched this show, and it went on for decades and decades and decades. They only just cancelled it about a month ago. And it was literally about 3 blokes, and they all funny people, but they knew everything about cars, and they would go on crazy adventures through the Atacama Desert, or be the first people to reach the North Pole in a car, or just do amazing, funny things. And one of the presenters that they called Captain Slow, or Mr. Slowly in Italian, he did a show called The Reassembler, where he would where some producers would take something like an electric guitar or a lawnmower or a little Japanese monkey bike and take it apart in excruciating detail to every single small component. And then he would film it with a massive crew, reassembling it piece by piece by piece.
Whoa.
And then making sure that it worked at the very end. And it's free on YouTube. You can find it. If you have not heard of it, or if you have not watched it, I cannot recommend it enough. It is absolutely hysterical, and it's such a good watch. It's got loads of them, and it's so soothing and calming. It's like stereotypically boring, but it's absolutely hysterical. If you can find it, what's a good episode? The electric guitar is brilliant. The vinyl record player is lovely, but the one you should watch is the he does an old what is it? Bakelite, an old Bakelite phone. That is the best episode by a mile. It's really lovely.
I will.
But coming back to 3D printers, you will. It's you'll trust me, you'll like it. Okay. I need some zip ties. How much time until we have our office hours?
A little over an hour and 10 minutes.
I just got a note from my fiance that she's got dinner ready.
Oh.
And it's an English classic. And I'm my mouth is watering thinking about it, but I will press on. I will press on for sake of our 3D printer. Okay. The buddy board. I think this is just the motherboard. It's just calling it a buddy board. That's very strange. It's a very European thing to do. Oh, it's got a Hall effect sensor on it. That's bloody cool. Oh, here's the buddy board. Okay, got my buddy board, got my zip ties. What the hell is this? An X holder. What, forsooth, is an X holder? Isopropyl alcohol, lovely. What's this for? Filament guide fastener, that's important. Yeah, it's times like this where I wish that my table wasn't just this big. I do wish I had like a massive, massive workbench so I could lay out every single part. That is my dream, to have a massive, completely unnecessary workbench that's gigantic.
Dream big, Jake. Dream big.
Dream big.
I don't know,
I know
if
it's
you
a little
could
silly.
ever possibly achieve that dream. Large table. Jake's dreams for the year. 1, large table. 2.
Okay, let me put it in a little bit of reference. My dream, or one of my dreams that I hope to get to, is to have my own workshop where I can put all of my tools and I can build my own projects and I can shut out the world and I can make something amazing.
Yeah, now we're dreaming.
That's a better dream. Yeah. And and one of the biggest things in there is everyone needs a workbench, and the size of your workbench is probably the most critical thing you'll ever do in a shop. Not the projects that you make, but the furniture that you design to fit in there. And the big question is, how big is it? How much room does it take up? And if you decide that it's only going to take up 2 foot by 6 foot, like this table does, your projects are limited for the rest of your existence in that place. But if you choose something massive like 10 foot by 8 foot, then your project's bigger. How you think about things becomes bigger. And life becomes better, really. Are these printed parts? God, where are the X holder? Is that X carriage clip? That's that. That's the PSU. What the hell? X carriage. Idler nut. No idea. Y belt. Wi-Fi cover. Who do you need Wi-Fi for? I feel like a child who can't find his one Lego piece in his massive mound of Lego.
Yeah. Or a puzzle. A puzzle piece.
Where you can't find that one piece. Also, I just picked up an empty bag that has one component in it that I don't remember taking out. So I've got a G212 16 tooth pulley that I need to find somewhere. But I'm not.
Oh, because you took it out.
I don't remember taking it out, but I must have. So that's going to be joyous to hunt for. Oh God!
If only we could rewind the stream.
I was just about to say, can someone rewatch the stream from the very beginning and tell me where that is? If you want to know, it is the GT2-16 pulley. There's only one of them, and it looks like that. Oh, there's all glare on it. Well, you can't see it anyway. That's fine. X holder. I've got no idea where it is. I've got everything else. That is a 3D printed part. It's in black. I feel like I've gone through all of them. This was a box of just 3D printed parts. I'm not saying that Prusa didn't give me all the pieces. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I have obviously misplaced something in my musings. And I'm sure I'll find them in an incredibly obvious place. Ooh, aha! I found it! It was in the place that I already looked. In the picture, they look about that big because there's no scale to it. Turns out that's what I'm looking for. Bloody hell. Okay. Those can live there. That's fine. I'm just amassing a pile of random crap. Oh God, all right. All the pieces. Lovely. Oh, God. I can't believe how many pieces there are in this entire thing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. That being said, that is a very, very beautiful motherboard. It's labeled. There's so many parts of manufacturing and making that I genuinely don't think that I will ever truly understand or get. I am one of those people, and I'm sure it's a slightly deluded thought that, or probably narcissistic, that no, I can learn anything. Obviously it just depends on how long you're willing to put time into learning it. I do believe that, and I go, yeah, I've been doing woodworking since I was 4 years old, and I became very, very, very good at it. That became my job for a little while, and I was very proud of that. Then I learned metalwork, and I became rather good at metalworking. Not professional, but certainly good enough to charge people for it. And then I'm now starting to get into
Isn't
robotics.
that the definition of professional?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
But charging.
I hear you. You could charge.
Saying a mate going, hey.
Yeah.
It was more like a friend coming up and going, "Hey,
Yeah.
can you lathe me this one part? And I'll give you $15." And he's like, "This will take you half an hour to do." I'm like, "That's fine." So I did it for him. Gave it to him. I didn't take his money, but he bought me lunch, which was very, very nice to do. And that's all fine and dandy. And now I'm learning more about electronics and robotics and motors and ESCs and all that kind of stuff. And that's all fine and dandy. I can wrap my head around that. What I truly think that I will never learn is motherboard manufacturing. There's 1,000 billion small pieces on here, and each of them is, if you take one off of them, none of it works. And I don't understand how early electronic engineers, early man, picked up all these individual components, put it together, soldered it all together, and then turned it on, and it's a radio. I don't understand how that works. I don't get how 100 or even 2 capacitors and resistors and inductors, how all of these go together, and then you get a radio. How does any of that work? It absolutely blows me away. And then if this was just something that like a handful of manufacturers on the planet have figured out how to do, fair enough. But I've met people in real life who design and model these in real life for their projects, and then they send it out to like a PCB way to get manufactured. And it blows me away at how nonchalant they are about it. Those people should be more pompous about that skill, and they're not. I know I would be. I would be cock of the walk if I could do that. I'd be going, yeah, design PCB boards. It's not too bad. It's not too hard.
Oh yeah, I bet you would. That's really on brand for you.
I would be showing off left and right. Look at all the things I can make. Not because that's who I am, but that's the level of difficulty that I imagine I know that it actually is. Oh, goodness me. Okay. Come back to the build. Okay, so I've got some M3 by 6. These are going to go through some incredibly tiny holes. Jeepers creepers, where do they go? Not the top ones, but the bottom ones. Okay. So I'm going to put them in until 3 millimeters are exposed. Lovely. And then, not the top ones, but the next one down. That's fine. That's fine. I don't know when I'll ever go to the Czech Republic. It is a beautiful country that I do genuinely want to go to.
I would love to go.
And I would love for Josh and I to get to a position where we could go to the Prusa factory. If you guys don't know about it, obviously it's where they build these machines. but it's a gigantic building, and it's cut up into floors, and each floor does a different part of the company. I believe the first floor, or the ground level, they make all of the Prusa filaments. Then the next level up is the printer farm, which makes all these 3D printed parts for your printer. Then the next level up machine, or actually assembles all these, and then I think near the top is like the offices. But my God, I want to go there so badly, and I would love to build up enough of a rapport with Prusa Research where we could just get together and hang out. Okay, let me slide this on. Oh gosh, that's a weird view. Am I doing that right? Yeah, one thing at the top, yep. Oh, it slots in there. Funky, funky, funky. All right. Attach the buddy box, extrusion. Do not tighten the screws at the moment. Okay. Then fully tighten them. That didn't need to be 2 steps, man. You could have just said, yeah, tighten them. Go for it. This is a situation where T-nuts do not work. And I will... Gotten rid of the Allen keys. Bugger, why do I never put things down? I do have a royally crap memory.
I also do.
Here's the thing, that wasn't always the fact. Before I met my fiance, I had what I would think is a very, very good memory. A very, very good memory. I used to be able to remember like very strange historical dates, like remembering very famous scientists' birthdays and useless shit like that. But it was only after I've been with my partner that my memory is awful, absolutely atrocious. She'll say, "Oh, you're supposed to be." I'll go, "Oh, what time are you working today?" And she goes, "I've told you like 4 times today, like what I'm doing." And I'm like, I have zero recollection of that at all. Absolutely none. I'm useless.
I have a theory on this because my memory I actually have never had a great memory, but for like over the past year and a half, I feel my memory has gone completely away, and I realize it's actually not memory, it's distraction. I find myself thinking about all of the tasks I need to handle and the different like to-do list items and then the meetings that I have and did I put it on my calendar, and my mind starts to race, and then suddenly I realize, oh, I only gave you 28% of my attention.
I think the answer is that when it comes to talking with our partners, we're actually not that good. We should be listening more.
Yep.
And we don't, and we should, because both of our partners are very, very lovely and they do a lot for us.
That is right.
And then when we're talking with them, we just tune them out and think about business, which is crap. Absolutely crap. God. But yeah, but my partner is convinced that I've always had a very poor memory, and I can't really prove it because I can't remember any examples of when I had good memory. I'm like, yeah. I know how to do this and how to do that. She goes, yeah, as if. I'm like, no, I promise. God, this last screw is diabolically hard to get to. So this may be something that that people are fairly interested in. A manufacturing interesting tidbit. So in the world of sheet metal fabrication, if you want, obviously sheet metal is thin, duh. And if you want to put a threaded hole in there, you would imagine that you need to pick a certain type of sheet metal, which is inherently very thick. And you would normally, or if you're insane, pick a part that is very thick and then cut away everything else to leave you with a thick part, except for a little mound where it does have some real thickness, where then you can put in a threaded hole. And I've no idea who, someone very, very, very clever just said, no, let's just push a tapered bit into a completely flat bit of sheet metal that has a tiny pinhole in it, and that will push out a little dimple of metal, a little bulb, and that's going to be just enough material to where we can drill a hole in it and actually then put a thread on it. Bloody genius thing to do. Unfortunately, this last bolt that I'm doing up, directly in front of it is one of these threaded nubbins, and it's diabolically annoying to fully tighten up because it keeps on pushing my my Allen key off to the side. All the other ones are perfectly fine, but this one is.
So here's what we have coming in from Cadence. I can pull these random facts out of nowhere, but never remember to move the clothes from the washer to the dryer.
Yep.
And then she says, I've been told memory things like that are linked to ADHD.
I don't think I have ADHD. but all the signs are proving something else.
Let's just ADHD criteria. I'm gonna read you some
I know
criteria,
anxiety
Jake.
has
Let me just
something
read
to
you
do
some
with
criteria.
bad memory.
You and I will
Yeah,
play a
okay.
little game. This is the DSM-5. Okay, how's it diagnosed? Let's see.
The DSM-5.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that is.
Oh, this is weird. DSM-5 criteria.
That doesn't feel very secure. Oh, is it? No, it's just tapping on the other side. That's fine. That's fine. Peel off the little sticky side. Right. Oh, and put it on the motherboard. Oh, weird. Okay. Oh, duh. That makes all the sense in the world to put on some thermal sticky pad onto the thing that's producing heat instead of on the metal frame. Because I'm a bit thick sometimes.
Okay, so number 1 is for a type of ADHD called inattention.
Okay.
And you need to fit, if you're under 16, then you need 6 of these symptoms. If you're 17 and older, or if you're 16 and under, 6 symptoms. If you're 17 and older, 5 or more. Symptom number 1, these are going to be yes or no. I already know this one. Often fails to give close attention to details or make careless mistakes in schoolwork, at work, or with other activities.
I don't think so. I think I
don't think so.
A lot of detail into things.
Okay, so 0 for 1. Often has trouble holding attention on tasks or play activities.
Yes, comma. That's because I've got a massive, ever-growing list of small things I need to do. And as I'm doing something, I'm thinking about more and more things that I also need to do. And it just never ends.
You know what's hilarious about your answer? Is your yes, but is actually a yes, and. That but was like, yeah, yes, I have trouble keeping my attention because there's all this stuff to do, which is the definition. Okay, so
fine,
we'll say 1 for 2. Often does not seem to listen when spoken to directly. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true.
Not in a rude way.
No, I don't think it's true. It's not been my experience. Often does not follow through on instructions and fails to finish schoolwork, chores, or duties in the workplace. For example, loses focus or sidetracked. Not really, I would say.
I think I'm a fairly good boy with that.
You follow through. Often has trouble organizing tasks and activities. I don't think so.
Organizing? No. That's literally my job.
Avoids, dislikes, or is reluctant to do tasks that require mental effort over a long period of time. No.
No.
Often loses things necessary for tasks and activities. School materials, pencils, books, 3D printer materials, bolts, nuts. Okay, I made that last part up.
I was going to say that's really highly specific.
So that's a yes. Is often easily distracted.
I'll tell you a very quick little story. When I was working on my senior thesis, and because I'm a bit of a masochist with that kind of thing, instead of picking an easy project, I picked an incredibly hard. While some of my other peers were building things like a a cutting board that has a built-in weighing scale. And I heard that and I said, well, that's incredibly boring. I decided I'm going.
Oh, I was gonna say you just froze up there, but you're good. Keep going.
Oh, sorry. My peers were making things like a cutting board that has a built-in weighing scale. I decided that I wanted to build a power plant for a Martian colony that used the Martian dust to mix with aluminum powder to make thermite as a fuel for a double Rankine cycle power plant. So during Martian dust storms, which renders solar panels worthless, they could still have a backup power supply. And during the thermite reaction, we take rust, which makes up a majority of the dust in the Martian atmosphere, and aluminum powder. Not only does it produce iron that, if you collect enough of it, you can make structures out of, but it also produces oxygen that you can start to dump out into the atmosphere. So bonus, and it produces a huge amount of heat. Thermite welding is used all the time. And oh my god, I just completely forgot why I told you that.
Right in the middle of our ADHD list. Oh my god,
yeah,
that's amazing.
What was the question you asked me for that?
I didn't ask you any questions.
Oh yeah, when I was building it, I would literally, several times I was working full time, and a full time student, and I was building my power plant at the same time, and I was getting something like 3 hours of sleep, 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night for like a year almost, and I was very slowly going insane. I'm very glad that my partner didn't meet me during then, because she would have hated me. She'd go, "Why are you working so hard?" And I go, "Because I need to build a power plant for Mars," which isn't a good excuse.
I remember.
And many, because I was the only person on my team with any making experience out of 6 people, 6 engineers. Most engineers don't know how to build stuff. It's very annoying. And I would literally be building things for so long and be so exhausted, which is quite dangerous. But I would have a tool in my hand, and as I'm looking for something else, I would look back at my hand, and the tool would disappear, and I'd go, "What?" And that happened probably once a day. And I'd look around, and it was like on another table, and I'm like, I saw it was in my hand. I felt the tool in my hand, but I must have never picked it up. It has to still have been on that table over there. And I was very slowly going insane. But yeah, so me losing tools is kind of pre-programmed into me. Take a closer look at the X Buddy box. There are 4 perforations on the metal case. Yes, there are. You can place the frame. Yeah, but what are the perforations for? Use the X holder as a zip tie guidance. What? Oh, this is a tool. This is like an IKEA tool. What? Why do you need to have zip ties in there? It's saying that there's 4 places to put zip ties in, and this tool allows you to kind of maneuver the head out of it. But I'm not quite sure why you'd need zip ties. I'm sure there's a million amount of wires that go into this. But if this works, that's a very beautiful thing.
Do you want to know something hilarious?
Please.
The question I asked you for our little ADHD quiz was, is often easily distracted?
To be fair, I am building a 3D printer while trying to be
talk
entertaining.
and live streaming. Yeah, to be fair.
And then answer ADHD quizzes.
Yeah. I would also, though, I don't actually think you're that easily distracted. But I agree with you. This is a very distracting environment. Is often forgetful in daily activities.
Yes.
Yes. But you did not answer yes to 5 or more questions. I think that was 4 yeses. So you do not have inattention.
Pretty close, though.
You do not have inattention. Now the other one is hyperactivity and impulsivity. And here
I'm very much not impulsive.
Okay, well, let's find out.
Okay.
Hyperactivity, 6 or more symptoms for 16 and under, 5 or more. Okay. Often fidgets with or taps hands or feet or squirms in seat. Yes. Often leaves seat in situations when remaining seated is expected.
Wait, sorry, I was
Do you
looking
leave
at something else.
seats?
Say that last bit again?
This is like clearly geared at children, but it says often
Yeah.
leaves seat in situations when remaining seated is expected. Do you get up from a seat?
No.
No.
I'm very
Runs
happy to
about or
sit down.
climbs in situations where it is not appropriate.
No, I am not a
Unable to
6-year-old. I don't do
play
that.
or take part in leisure activities quietly. No. Is that often on the go?
I will say that when I was growing up, annoyingly, all of my hobbies were incredibly loud, which is strange because I enjoy silence more than most people. You know, I don't really I like loud music. I love loud rock and roll, but I don't play it very loud. My dad does have tinnitus, and I'm quite partial to it, and so I try and avoid incredibly loud things. But all of my hobbies as a kid were very loud. Like I wanted to be a drummer when I was a kid, and you can imagine how excited my parents were about that. And it was just like I loved to play it. It was incredibly fun. But good God, I made so much bloody noise, and I can only imagine how pissed off my parents were trying to feign excitement about, like, yeah, maybe he'll be a great drummer. Who knows? And also my very poor neighbors. Sorry, Mark. I'm sure I kept you up late at night. My apologies. I was trying to be a prodigy. These prints are very nice.
Yeah, the next one is often
as expected.
talks excessively.
No. No, I think I'm quiet.
No, none of this applies. So negative for you, sir.
What I think I've misplaced two things. Yeah, and then two yep. Put the screws in. Yep, tighten those down. Oh, what? Oh, I completely did miss a step. Ha 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 ha. There we go. That's just Josh's fault. Oh, God. Oh no. Oh, bugger. Those little, oh, God. Those little T-nuts that we put in there, this is what you secure it to. Oh, God. Oh, it's going to be a nightmare to get out. Nope. There we go. I've got some pick sets. Got some picks. Everything's fine. We can breathe. Move that over there. And then, oh gosh, I can't get in there. Bollocks. Jeepers creepers. Screw that one up. Oh, I really don't want to have to reassemble this from scratch. Where is it? There we go. Oh, I'm gonna have to remove these screws. Bollocks. Oh, no. It's fine. I'm just not going to secure it down. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm just not going to do it. It doesn't need 6 screws to secure a motherboard. It just needs
correct
5.
That's right.
Because it's not really moving anywhere. It's not very heavy. It's not a load. It's fine. God, I can't believe I missed that. Damn. I can unscrew everything to put it back on, but unfortunately, that I don't have any time. I don't have any time. This is what I mean by having slightly obscure tools. I have a full pick set, and I would rather have a strange pick set than like a really expensive pick set, because I use these once a month, and they're perfect for their job. And these were $1, and there's no need to spend any more than $1 on a set of picks that you use once a month. That's silly. Okay, screw that in place, screw that on, load it on. Great. Yep, okay, let's get some more bits. What time is it? It's 4:50, goodness me. All right, I'm going to do one more step, and then I'm going to call it, and we'll say goodnight to everyone. I think a 2-hour podcast live is perfectly fine. I don't think we need to do any more than that. Okay, some more M3 bolts, or M3 by 10s. Lovely. Aha, I already have one because I forgot to put it in. There we go. M3 by 10. Grand. There's still about over 70 of these bolts that I have to put in somewhere, and I'm not sure where they go really. I think that's right. M3NS. There we go. Need 2 of those. Again, there's 39 little screws, and it's not a Ziploc. Joseph, come on. Give the mass what we want. We want Ziplocs. Just see. There we go. I'm like trying to bleed out all the air from this, so there's no way that any of them can fall on top of each other. I need that, and then I'm going to be needing the Y belt idler. Lovely. Yeah, I wouldn't mind some scale with it because that looks like it could be minuscule. Interesting. So these are my first 3D prints that I'm seeing from a professional company. What is surprising from this, which I don't think a lot of people realize, the layer lines are actually quite large. I think they're 0.2 or 0.24. They're not tiny. They're not meant to look really beautiful. They're just meant to be functional. And so you will see there's a bit of chatter on the surface, which means they're running their acceleration quite high. The layer lines are quite high. It doesn't weigh a ton, so it's not 100% solid infill. And it looks like they don't use any support material, which would make sense. But it is something that we need to be reminded, because inside the 3D printing community, we do always want to be striving for, the most strongest and beautiful and print with no imperfections whatsoever. And what you really need to realize is that this is a plastic part. It's not meant to be the most beautiful thing on the planet. And as long as it works, it works. We're at a stage where they can look fairly good, or in some cases, really good, but they don't need to be absolutely perfect. This is a part that is purely functional. It's just meant to hold something on the y-axis, and it's perfectly fine. There's no need to spend a huge amount of time to make parts absolutely beautiful, unless that is your one goal in life. And for me, it isn't. All right, we'll get some pieces in there. There. That doesn't want to go in. All right, pop that in place. I actually need a little pick. Oh, that wants to. Oh, that's going to be a pain to go in. Oh, wait, I can use my vise as a vise. Oh, this is a glorious moment. I don't know if you guys can see it. There is a nut that is proud to it, and there's some nubbin of plastic, and it's refusing to go in cleanly. And I can actually use my vise as a clamp to compress these two parts together to force that nut into place. Just to make sure I'm not going to be forcing it in and I can't get it back out. Yeah, that doesn't want to go in super smoothly. Vise that in place. Oops, taking off the rubber. Yes, yes. Aha, lovely, lovely, lovely. And then I can use the pick just to pull it in place. Oh, there is no more satisfying feeling in the world than having the right tool at hand and it working. My partner is not a tool person at all. But oftentimes she'll need to put up a picture frame or need to assemble a bit of IKEA or something like that. And she'll go, oh God, I wish I had this tool. And I'll go, I do have it. I have a really good quality, and I have them in all different sizes as well. I think she was, there was something in her laboratory. She worked in a COVID lab for a long time. and there was something that just needed to be fixed, and she didn't know how to do it, so she took a picture. And I said, "Oh, I've got to use it." So the next day, she brought in the tool, and it took about a minute to fix, instead of having to hire someone who I'm sure would cost quite a pretty penny to do.
Oh, it looks like your video has frozen up.
Hey, Josh, can you hear me?
Yeah, your video froze though. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
There we go.
Cool.
Back in business.
Anyway, yeah, having the correct tool at hand is a really beautiful feeling. Okay, so then this has to go either on the front or the back. I'm not sure. This goes on the back side, I believe. Oh no, it goes on the front because there's no sticker. Aha! Dual function of the sticker. Okay. And this is going to be mounted in place with the angle going down. Lovely. Is that how it goes? Yes, yes, yes. That's how it's going to work. Do you know what's quite nice about it, Josh? This entire thing.
What's that?
I'm doing it in slippers. There was in the early days of COVID when we were all working from home. There was a really lovely time when we all realized, oh my god, I can do my job in slippers. And there's a certain portion of the population that got incredibly excited about something fairly mundane. But living life in slippers ain't too bad. The old man monicum is still very strong in me. Kind of excited to be an old man, but that's a story for another time. Anyway, I think we're just about to hit the 2-hour mark. I think we can stop there and say that I'm going to be finishing it on my own until midnight, maybe. Who knows? Thank you all ever so much for joining me, listening along. Maybe you learned a bit. I hope so, at least. Thank you ever so much for joining. Josh, if you want to end the stream there. Thank you ever so much, everyone.
Now, cheers, y'all.
Adios. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Later.